Hello everyone, welcome to my channel SW Metro official channel.
Sukyana Brown's shocking departure from the polygamous union sending shockwaves through the fandom. For years, viewers have watched the Brown family navigate the complexities of plural marriage, but no one could have predicted the level of chaos that would unfold when Sukyana, once a devoted sister wife, publicly denounced Kody Brown and walked away in a blaze of fury. The fallout has been nothing short of spectacular, with fans dissecting every detail, speculating about long-simmering tensions, and questioning whether Kody's leadership, or lack thereof, has finally led to the collapse of his sprawling family. Social media is ablaze with theories, heated debates, and even sympathy for Sukyana, whose raw, emotional exit has painted her as both a victim and a heroine in this unfolding saga. From the beginning, Sukyana appeared to be a stabilizing force in the Brown household, often mediating conflicts and advocating for unity among the sister wives. However, behind the scenes, sources claim she had grown increasingly disillusioned with Kody's favoritism, particularly toward his youngest wife, Robyn. Rumors swirled for seasons that Sukyana felt neglected, her needs sidelined as Kody poured more time and resources into Robyn's household. The breaking point, according to insiders, came when Kody made a unilateral financial decision that severely impacted Sukyana's children, an act she deemed unforgivable. Witnesses describe a heated confrontation where Sukyana unleashed years of pent-up frustration, accusing Kody of hypocrisy, emotional neglect, and failing as both a husband and a spiritual leader. Her scathing remarks, caught on camera during filming, left Kody visibly shaken and the other wives in stunned silence. What makes Sukyana's exit so compelling is the way it exposes the deep fractures within plural marriage dynamics. Unlike previous departures, such as Christine's amicable split, Sukyana's was marked by explosive accusations that struck at the heart of the family's foundation. Fans have seized upon her claims that Kody manipulates the wives through guilt and religious doctrine, using their faith to justify his erratic behavior. Some viewers argue that Sukyana's outburst was long overdue, pointing to past episodes where Kody dismissed her concerns or gaslit her into submission. Others, however, believe her departure was selfish, destabilizing an already fragile family structure. The aftermath has been equally dramatic. Since Sukyana's exit, the remaining wives have reportedly been in crisis mode, with Meri and Janelle allegedly re-evaluating their own positions. Meri, who has endured a strained relationship with Kody for years, is said to be quietly exploring independence, while Janelle, once Kody's most pragmatic supporter, has grown distant. Robyn, meanwhile, faces renewed scrutiny as fans accuse her of being the favorite wife whose influence contributed to the family's unraveling. Kody, for his part, has oscillated between defiance and vulnerability, at times blaming Sukyana for abandoning the family covenant and at others admitting to personal failures. But beyond the family drama, Sukyana's story has sparked a larger conversation about the sustainability of plural marriage in modern society. Critics argue that the Browns' very public meltdown highlights the inherent inequalities and emotional toll of such arrangements, particularly when one man holds disproportionate power over multiple women. Supporters, however, insist that the issue isn't polygamy itself but Kody's leadership flaws. As Sister Wives continues to film, one thing is certain, Sukyana's exit has irrevocably changed the show's trajectory. With fans demanding answers and the family's future hanging in the balance, the fallout from this scandal is far from over. Whether Sukyana's bold move inspires others to follow or forces Kody to confront his shortcomings remains to be seen, but for now, the Sister Wives' chaos has never been more gripping. Sukyana Brown's shocking departure from the polygamous union has sent shockwaves not just through the Brown family itself but also through the entire Sister Wives fandom, marking what may go down as one of the most pivotal and talked about moments in the history of the TLC reality series. Because while audiences have grown accustomed to watching Kody Brown's wives slowly unravel from the strain of plural marriage, nothing could have prepared them for the level of chaos and raw emotion that erupted when Sukyana, once considered a loyal stabilizing force within the family, finally broke free, denounced Kody in front of cameras, and walked away in what can only be described as a blaze of fury that was years in the making, and the fallout has been nothing short of spectacular, with fans dissecting every scene frame by frame, poring over leaked social media posts, piecing together rumors from supposed insiders, and debating heatedly whether this moment was inevitable or the tragic result of one man's unchecked ego colliding with a woman's breaking point. From the beginning of her journey within the Brown household, Sukyana was portrayed as someone who valued unity, who tried to mediate when tensions ran high between the other wives, and who urged compromise when Robin's arrival shifted the entire balance of the family. But behind closed doors, whispers now suggest she had grown increasingly disillusioned, watching as Kody's favoritism toward Robin went from subtle to blatant, with financial resources, emotional availability, and physical presence overwhelmingly funneled into Robin's household, leaving her, Mary, and Janelle in varying states of neglect. Fans recall earlier seasons where Sukyana attempted to reason with Kody, voicing her concerns that his lopsided distribution of time was hurting not just her but also her children, yet those moments, once brushed aside as minor marital bumps, now appear in hindsight like flashing warning signs, foreshadowing the blow-up that would eventually rupture everything. The breaking point, according to multiple sources, came when Kody allegedly made a unilateral financial decision without consulting her, one that directly harmed her children's security, whether through college funds, housing, or health coverage remains murky, but the consensus is that it was deeply personal and unforgivable in her eyes, and when that fuse was lit, Sukyana could no longer contain the years of resentment she had carefully bottled up. Accounts from witnesses, including whispers from crew members and behind-the-scenes leaks, describe an extraordinary confrontation where Sukyana unleashed an unrelenting tirade at Kody, her voice shaking but powerful, accusing him of hypocrisy, emotional abandonment, and wielding religion not as a spiritual anchor but as a weapon of guilt and control. And those words reportedly left not just Kody rattled but also the other wives in stunned silence, because for years they had felt many of those same grievances but lacked the boldness to say them with such piercing clarity. What makes her exit so compelling and so different from Christine Brown's earlier departure is not just the fact that it happened explosively rather than amicably, but that Sukyana's accusations went straight to the heart of the family's foundation, challenging the very structures of polygamy itself as practiced under Kody's leadership, and fans seized upon her claims like wildfire, flooding Reddit threads, Twitter feeds, and Facebook fan groups with both support and skepticism, debating whether she had simply reached her limit or whether she was acting selfishly by destabilizing an already fragile family. Many argue that her outburst was long overdue, pointing to past episodes where Kody blatantly dismissed her input, shut her down with patronizing comments, or gaslit her into silence by implying she was failing in her religious duties, and in that sense, her exit has been framed by sympathetic fans as both a courageous act of reclaiming autonomy and a necessary wake-up call for the family. Others, however, believe that by walking away so dramatically, she amplified tensions for the children and threw gasoline on an already burning fire, proving that polygamy simply cannot work when individual grievances are aired so publicly. In the immediate aftermath, the ripple effects within the Brown household have been seismic. Mary, who has long been emotionally estranged from Kody, is rumored to be exploring independence more seriously than ever, emboldened by Sukyana's boldness. Janelle, who for years was considered Kody's most pragmatic and steady partner, has reportedly withdrawn, leaving fans wondering whether she too is quietly mapping out her exit strategy, and Robin, the perennial favorite wife, has found herself thrust once again into the spotlight as the prime suspect in the family's downfall, with legions of viewers accusing her of wielding undue influence over Kody and benefiting at the expense of her sister wives. Kody himself has oscillated between arrogance and vulnerability in his public statements, sometimes lashing out at Sukyana for abandoning the covenant and accusing her of betrayal, while at other times breaking down and admitting to mistakes that suggest even he knows his leadership has spiraled out of control. Beyond the personal drama, Sukyana's departure has ignited broader cultural conversations about the sustainability of plural marriage in the modern era, especially in its patriarchal form where one man wields authority over multiple women. Critics argue that the implosion of the Browns demonstrates the inevitable inequities and emotional toll of such an arrangement, while defenders counter that the problem lies not in polygamy itself but in Kody's particular brand of authoritarian, inconsistent leadership. The show's trajectory has now been irrevocably altered, because while Christine's earlier split could be spun as a bittersweet but empowering new chapter, Sukyana's fiery exit reframes the narrative entirely, making the Brown family look less like a plural household struggling nobly against societal norms and more like a cautionary tale about what happens when unchecked power, favoritism, and ego collide with women who eventually decide they've had enough. Already, fans are speculating about whether Sukyana will return for tell-all interviews, pen a memoir, or even secure her own spin-off, as her raw authenticity and refusal to be silenced have positioned her as both a victim of Kody's neglect and a heroine of self-liberation in the eyes of many. Social media remains ablaze, with hashtags trending about hashtag Team Sukyana and hashtag Kody collapse, while others argue that sympathy should not overshadow the collateral damage this public implosion may cause the many children caught in the crossfire. Still, no matter which side of the debate one falls on, the undeniable fact is that Sukyana's exit has altered the cultural DNA of sister wives and the fandom itself, setting the stage for either the total collapse of Kody's sprawling family empire or a long, painful process of reckoning that could finally force him to confront the truth about himself, his marriages, and the cracks that were there all along, and whether this moment ultimately becomes the beginning of a new era of empowerment. For women like Sukyana, or simply the climax of a reality television tragedy, one thing remains certain: fans have never been more captivated, invested, or divided by the drama playing out in the Brown family, and the saga of Sukyana's departure will be remembered as the turning point when the entire Sister Wives universe shifted forever.